okay.
This won't take more than a minute.
Don't let me... Oh my God!
The film begins with a scene featuring a beautiful woman named Claire undergoing embryo implantation process commonly known as in vitro fertilization. She is assisted by a fertility specialist named Dr. Deanston. At first, no explanation is given as to why Claire is undergoing in vitro fertilization. As he proceeds with the implantation, the doctor engages Claire in casual conversation. Since the procedure is painless, Dr. Deanston successfully places the embryo inside Claire's womb without her even realizing it. Dr. Deanston then exits the room and meets with the intended parents of the child Claire is carrying. It is at this moment that we learn Claire has agreed to be a surrogate mother for a couple who cannot conceive. Dr. Deanston assures them that the embryo is in excellent condition. Afterward, he enters a secret room. Inside, he meets a nurse named Rebecca. This hidden space is equipped to monitor several individuals who have successfully undergone in vitro fertilization. To their shock and horror, it is revealed that what was implanted inside Claire was not a human embryo, but a terrifying tentacled monster now living and growing within her womb. The scene transitions to Claire's apartment. She is in the middle of an argument with her boyfriend Ben. Ben is furious about Claire's unilateral decision to rent out her womb for someone else's baby. Claire, however, did it because she desperately needed a large sum of money in a short period. She was promised $15,000 for the surrogacy program, with another $15,000 to be paid after the baby's birth. Ben is devastated, realizing that all his efforts to support Claire financially have gone to waste upon learning about her decision. On top of that, the hospital staff strictly prohibited Claire from engaging in any intimate activities with any man during her surrogacy. This only adds to Ben's frustration, and their heated argument ends with him storming out of the apartment. The next day, Claire joins a group of young women who, like her, have chosen to become surrogate mothers. During the gathering, she gets acquainted with several other women. They are guided and given extensive health advice by Nurse Rebecca, the same nurse seen in the opening scene. Nurse Rebecca also strictly instructs them to take a special vitamin pill, an unusually large capsule that is exclusively provided by the clinic. Most likely, this pill is a supplement meant to nourish the monstrous creatures growing inside them without their knowledge. Unaware of the sinister truth, the women obediently consumed the pills 3 times a day. After the meeting, Dr. Deanston hands Claire the contact information of the couple who will be the parents of the child she is carrying. Later in her apartment, she continuously observes her belly, which has begun to swell slightly. But when she is about to swallow the clinic's vitamin pill, an inexplicable sense of doubt washes over her, causing her to hesitate. Just moments later, she suddenly experiences a sharp pain, followed by a massive amount of blood gushing from her womb. Claire was immediately rushed to the hospital to receive first aid. She was in excruciating pain, unable to do anything but whimper as she endured an indescribable agony. At that moment, Claire felt as if something sharp was stabbing through the flesh and inner walls of her womb.
It's coming in waves.
Fortunately, it was nothing more than a terrible nightmare. Gently rubbing her belly, she walked toward the window. At the same time, a mysterious man who had been watching her from a distance remained standing in the shadows. For some reason, it was as if he already knew that Claire had just experienced a nightmare. The next morning, Claire shared her unsettling dream with Nurse Rebecca and the other surrogate mothers at their gathering. She expressed how disturbingly real the nightmare had felt, to the point that she had even woken up with a slight pain in her stomach. Curious, she asked the others if they had experienced similar dreams. Nurse Rebecca simply reassured her, saying that nightmares were very common for pregnant women. After their discussion, Claire decided to call someone named Donna and arranged to meet with her. Donna was the woman who would be welcoming the baby that Claire was carrying. When Claire arrived at Donna's residence, she was warmly greeted by Donna and her husband, Craig. As the days went by, Claire gradually adjusted to her life as a young, expectant mother. She continued working as an abstract painter. Months passed and her belly grew significantly larger. One day, Craig's family, who was incredibly excited about the baby, eagerly reached out to touch Claire's stomach, hoping to feel the baby's kicks. Little did they know that the fetus inside her womb was a horrifying monster in disguise. Unaware of the truth, the three of them shared a moment of pure joy, laughing and marveling at the baby's movements. During one of their group meetings, Claire noticed that one of her friends, Fern, had been acting particularly anxious and withdrawn lately. At first, Fern refused to open up about what was troubling her, but after some persistent urging from Claire, Fern finally admitted that she had experienced the same terrifying nightmare Claire had described earlier. However, Fern's nightmare had been far worse, so vivid and horrifying that it left her deeply unsettled. That same night, Fern suddenly called Claire in tears, begging her to come over to her place immediately. The moment Claire arrived at Fern's home, Fern frantically explained that the nightmare she had just experienced felt unbearably real. In her dream, she sensed something sharp moving inside her, trying to rip through the layers of her stomach to break free. The fear was so overwhelming that she could no longer bring herself to sleep. At that moment, Fern became absolutely convinced that the baby growing inside her was not an ordinary human child. She was certain that she had become an unwitting subject of a sinister medical experiment. Hearing such a wild claim, Claire instinctively dismissed it, trying to calm Fern down by assuring her that she was overthinking things. But before they could continue their conversation, Fern's body suddenly went limp, collapsing to the floor as she was struck by an unbearable contraction. The pain she was experiencing now felt exactly like what she had endured in her nightmare. Claire immediately called Nurse Rebecca's team to come and help Fern. Upon arrival, Nurse Rebecca injected Fern with some kind of sedative. Dr. Deanston, who was also present, reassured them that both Fern and her baby would be completely fine in no time. According to him, it was merely a case of false contractions, a common occurrence in pregnant women experiencing stress due to hormonal changes. Shortly after, Claire returned to her apartment, but just as she arrived, she was startled to find that someone had broken into her place. The intruder then introduced himself to Claire. He was an FBI agent named Glenn assigned to investigate the suspicious practices of a pregnancy doctor named Deanston. Coincidentally, Claire was one of the patients at that very clinic. Glenn revealed that there had been numerous reports of missing women, all of whom had been patients of Dr. Deanston. Without wasting any time, Glenn presented Claire with a complete file on all the missing victims. For now, Glenn only had one request, that Claire allow herself to be monitored and report anything unusual to him immediately. Unfortunately, Claire was far from cooperative. Instead of appreciating Glenn's efforts, she was furious that he had been invading her privacy by secretly watching her all this time. Angrily, she lashed out at Glenn and rudely forced him out of her apartment. The next morning, Claire received a phone call from Fern, who was still in the hospital. To Claire's surprise, Fern was in excellent condition. She had successfully given birth to her baby. However, something felt off about Fern. For some reason, her demeanor and behavior had drastically changed from before. Fern no longer remembered anything she had previously said about the corruption within Dr. Deanston's clinic. In fact, she now claimed the complete opposite, that Dr. Deanston and Nurse Rebecca were incredibly kind people who had saved her life. A few days later, Claire went out for a late-night walk with Ben. Having sensed Claire's growing unease over the past few days, Ben immediately suggested that she get a second opinion from a different doctor. He then introduced Claire to an acquaintance of his, a physician named Dr. Chen. Claire took Ben's advice and promptly scheduled an appointment with Dr. Chen to have her pregnancy examined. During the checkup, Dr. Chen was bewildered by what he found inside Claire's womb. When performing an ultrasound, he detected 3 heartbeats pulsating in perfect unison within a single body. As he observed further, he could faintly see that the fetus had 4 arms, but that was not the only alarming discovery. Dr. Chen also noticed an excessive amount of fluid inside Claire's womb, which could pose a serious threat to the baby's safety. His diagnosis sent Claire and Ben into a panic. To gain more clarity, Dr. Chen decided to perform an amniocentesis. Before we continue, an amniocentesis, or commonly known as an amnio checkup, is a procedure used to analyze the amniotic fluid within a pregnant woman's uterus. This procedure helps detect chromosomal abnormalities and diagnose certain medical conditions. Dr. Chen picked up a syringe with an extremely long needle. He carefully inserted it into Claire's swollen belly. Before proceeding, he warned her that if the baby moved suddenly, the process would become much more difficult.
Almost there.
And sure enough, Claire immediately felt an intense movement inside her womb. Dr. Chen urged her to stay as still as possible and remain calm. But then something horrifying happened. A mysterious green fluid started gushing out from inside her stomach, overflowing to the point that the syringe could no longer contain it. The strange liquid immediately splattered in all directions.
Oh my God! Agent Grant!
Moments later, FBI agent Glenn barged into the room uninvited and demanded to know what was happening. His sudden arrival instantly enraged Claire. To make matters worse, it turned out that Ben had deliberately brought her to Dr. Chen under Glenn's orders from the very beginning. Of course, Ben had only done so out of love and concern for Claire's well-being, but despite his good intentions, Claire was deeply hurt by Ben's actions. Without saying another word, she stormed out of the clinic. Back at her apartment, Claire felt the fetus inside her violently stirring nonstop. Panicked, she immediately called Donna and Craig. She then visited their home, desperate to share the distress that had been haunting her all this time. At this point, Claire felt more lost than ever, unsure of whom she could trust. On one hand, she was furious at Glenn for invading her privacy, but on the other, she was also suffering greatly from carrying this strange embryo inside her. Claire tried to lie down and calm herself, but suddenly her eyes widened and she let out a piercing scream of pain.
It's sharp! It's so sharp!
This time, the agony in her stomach was far worse than anything she had experienced before. As she was rushed to the delivery room, Claire screamed in terror, convinced that something sharp was stabbing at her flesh from the inside. It felt as if the thing inside her was trying to tear through the layers of her stomach. Overcome with unbearable pain, Claire suddenly grabbed a scalpel and pointed it directly at Dr. Deanston and Nurse Rebecca. She demanded answers, desperate to know what exactly was growing inside her womb. A tense standoff ensued between them for several minutes. Then, Dr. Deanston managed to calm Claire down just long enough to administer a sedative gas. Meanwhile, outside the room, one of Claire's fellow surrogate mothers had noticed something unsettling about her behavior. Alarmed, she quickly contacted Agent Glenn and urged him to come to the hospital immediately. Back in the delivery room, Claire, now under the effects of the gas, began experiencing vivid hallucinations. She watched in horror as everyone around her started transforming into alien-like beings. Even Donna and Craig, whom she had trusted, began to reveal their true forms. The effects of Dr. Deanston's sedative gas gradually opened Claire's eyes to the horrifying truth. The people inside this clinic were not human. They were alien entities disguised as humans, using human wombs to breed and expand their colony in an effort to take over Earth. Meanwhile, Glenn arrived at the clinic. He encountered Nurse Rebecca in the hallway. Strangely, she did not put up any resistance. Instead, she calmly invited him to check on Claire himself. But the moment Glenn stepped into Claire's room, he was met with an eerie sight. Claire and Fern were sitting together, chatting casually, as if nothing had happened. Their behavior was unsettling completely, unlike their former selves. As Glenn stood frozen in confusion, Fern suddenly got up and locked the door behind him. It was then that he realized he had walked straight into a trap, a horrifying moment for him. The alien fetus had completely taken over Claire's body. Before Glenn could react, the creature attacked him. Claire, or rather the thing that had possessed her mercilessly, tore Glenn apart, killing him on the spot. The scene then shifted to Dr. Deanston. He was introducing a new batch of surrogate mothers who had just been implanted with alien embryos. Little did they know, they were nothing more than hosts for an ever-growing alien breeding farm. Alien breeding